Live from a Zoom meeting recorded weeks ago, it's Phoenix. Tonight, will Phoenix survive the quarantine? Find out with your co-hosts Emily Astril and professional self-isolationist, your host, Russ Kazmierzak.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Phoenix. Tonight, the YouTube series, podcast, talk show that addresses the hard-hitting question, will the Phoenix art scene survive COVID-19? We're in the middle of a pandemic, people, if you didn't know. And we've been talking to some of the Valley's best independent artists about how they're experiencing their creativity, how they're getting themselves out there, even in the midst of this pandemic. My name is Russ. Thank you for watching. It was a long-winded intro.
I always like to do the dance, and I'm Emily Astril. This is the first time. I like it when Russ says my name, honestly. Russ over here. But, you know, I was like, you know what? Today is a special day. Let's just cut in.
Identify yourself. I just figured
myself.
The more narration I gave up front, the more physical activity you would get. So, for your own health and for your own fitness, I just thought.
I'm not allowed to get any more skinnier.
How long can I talk and you'll keep moving?
Oh my God. You should see me on Twitch, me dancing, just like, because I play music in the background. So, yeah. And today I had Witch House was like goth music, but like imagine like EDM music, but goth, just kind of moany and like it sounds cool still, but
sure.
You hear, oh, and you're like, I'm like, I don't like it when these goth girls be yelling in the songs, but I'm dancing. I hope this is funny to somebody.
I'm trying not to move over here because it's so hot outside. I mean, if you're not in Phoenix, you don't know. It was 118 today. It's probably well over 100 right now as we record this at 8 p.m.
We hit 114 or 16 today.
Unbelievable. And it's just going to keep climbing. Of course, I wrote some it's so hot outside jokes in the spirit of our talk show element here. I had to jot down just a few. And do you know how this goes? I'm going to say it's so hot outside, and then you'll say, how hot is it? Just to...
Oh, heads up, I'm going to interrupt you with a trans joke. It's nothing bad, but it's this hot. But you go for it. You go, boy.
All right, well. It was so hot outside today.
How hot was it?
It was so hot outside today. I went on Facebook and reminded people to vote just to feel cool. That's how hot it was. It was so hot outside today.
How hot was it?
I'm actually demoting all of my hot takes on President Trump to lukewarm takes comparatively, because it's so hot outside. My hot takes are comparatively lukewarm takes, and so hot outside today. Last one, so hot outside.
How hot is it? I forgot.
Thank you. It was so hot outside today. My skin hasn't burned this bad since I met my new friend over at 27th Avenue in Van Buren, if you know what I mean. My skin hasn't burned this badly. All right, that's it.
This is one of those trans points I lose. Like, Emily.
What was your joke? You said you had a joke? You had a trans joke?
No, it's just like, just being dumb. That's all I am. Yeah, no, for me, it was so hot that, like, I got my hormones and ran straight back home because I didn't want them to die.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much the safest trans joke you could make on a hot day.
Yo, I'm trying to have as much fun with them as possible. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, I don't know the limit yet, but I'd be testing it on Twitch. Just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, like it's not like I'm trying to be edgy. It's just like, it's just like, oh, memory loss. It's like, oh yeah, it's the hormones. I used to remember things. Not today. I've had moments, I'm not gonna lie, like I blamed it on my transition where like we're playing the game and I'm like, trying to shoot a goal in our own goal, not like the opposite team.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, my hormones. I literally have done that twice. Blamed them on my hormones.
Well, geez, maybe I'm trans, because I can't tell you how many times in elementary school I shot the ball in the wrong basket. But I think that's more because I'm a nerd than.
I'll do this though. I've actually had certain friends, and I'm saying like friends that are part of like feminist groups and certain things. They go, "So you're on hormones?" I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Memory." I was like, "Yeah, that's starting to go out the door." Like
so tell me this. I don't know this. Is a side effect of hormones loss of memory?
It's not loss of memory. It's just like your long term and short term. Like, you know, there's this whole theory about like women have like a short term memory or something. Like I always get the two mixed up.
Okay, I'll tell you right now, it's not a short term memory. I'll tell you that right now.
But it's funny because it's like I always forget things. They ask me and I was like, yeah, no, I forget simple things too sometimes. And they're like,
interesting.
Yeah, me too. I used to remember everything. Like something happened. Like I remember the thing that happened to the person. I can almost remember the steps they made and probably remember at least the shirt they were wearing. I would be like, oh, this and this happened. Walk 2 feet. That person had, I don't know, some kind of football jersey. I'm not gonna start football wars up in here, but you know, like literally, I was that person. Now I'm like, I fell. That's all I remember.
Wow. I did not know that. That's an education for me. I had no idea.
But it's funny, but it's just funny when like I have certain, like I would have never expected certain people to ask me certain things.
Sure.
But it's like, oh, so now you're on hormones. It's been a couple of months. What are the side effects you notice? I go, but it's that one always gets brought up is remembering simple tasks and forgetting about them. Because I never forgot them. Like even when I was like a lazy bum, because you know some kids are like that. I was one of those kids. You told me what to do. I knew that I had to do it, just never did it. Now there's times I don't do it because I forgot about it because I did another simple task, and I'm like, it's not because I'm older. Is it like that's a lot of like? So like now I'm teeter-tottering. Is it the hormones or is it? You know?
Well, it's not your age. You're nowhere near the age where memory loss would be a variable in your life.
But besides that, like on Twitch, I make fun of my dyslexia because I type stuff. Like kids will like, it's like, hey, let's play, and I'm like, yeah, and they give me their thing, and I'll add like extra eyes and stuff, and I'm like, let me double check. Oh wait, there's one eye. Damn it. One kid got me because I guess he saw me and he's like, wait, you're looking with your bad eye. Stop looking that way. And I was like, you got me.
Wow.
Oh my God. I've been just trying to work on my funniness on Twitch. It's a different level. That's all I gotta say.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's a different audience, I think, than I don't know who watches any of this stuff anymore. Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, IGTV. I've lost track of it all.
That's all I gotta say.
What did? IGTV?
No. Twitch might kick the bucket pretty soon.
Oh, why is that?
Because I guess they're trying to exclude a lot of Chinese things, and a lot of other countries are really mad with Twitch. And let's just say some people are using Twitch to the point where they can sell products.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the other
inevitable.
Yeah. Like the crazy thing too is like, it's not even Twitch itself. I had a friend who quit their job because of Twitch. Not Twitch, TikTok.
Oh, okay. So what do you mean?
I'm sorry, I got this all wrong. TikTok might kick the bucket.
Oh, TikTok. TikTok's time is numbered. The clock is ticking on TikTok, so to speak.
Yo, that's a good fast one.
There it is. Take that headline, The Onion, and run with it. But, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, you're sitting there doing a TikTok, and then all of a sudden you're like, whew, that half-lit dance I did in my hallway was exhausting. Why don't I try some Clear American, strawberry sparkling water? Clear American for the TikToker in you.
Trans supported. LGBT supported. I always miss a letter every time I say that. I've noticed that. Now that
What's that?
When I say LGBT, I say it so fast, I end up missing one. And they're like, what about this? And it's like, I say it too fast.
Well, because you represent a letter in that acronym, you can get away with it. I, on the other hand, have it very thoroughly memorized. LGBTQAI+.
You know the whole thing.
An ally. I'm an ally.
Oh my goodness! I have the flag in the background as a safety precaution when I'm on, when I have the webcam on. But it saved me.
I can have an alphabet chart in front of me, throw darts at it, and I will most likely get that acronym. I mean, it's essentially every letter in the alphabet at this point.
Oh,
so.
here's a fun quest. Here's a funny question. What was one of those letters trying to join that group in the LGBT?
A new letter?
Yeah, there was a new letter trying to add itself into that.
Ooh, that's a fun game. Let me think
and it was
about
a
that.
big controversy about it.
Really? Is it a common enough word that I would know it in the first place?
Yeah, it was. There was a video, and long story short, this is.
I'm going to guess the letter is S.
No, it's P.
P?
P.
P for what?
People that like to be with children.
Oh my gosh. P for pedophile?
Yeah.
They tried to get it in on the spectrum?
Yeah, I think they had a different name for it, but yeah. And they made a video and everything, and they're like, and one of them was a teacher. Like one person, I remember a lot of people watched the video, and one of the biggest bits was one of them was a teacher. She literally made the video, and the background was a school, and you could tell it wasn't green screen. I was like, you're at a school, you work at a school, so yeah, that was a letter that was trying to get in that.
Wow, I thought it was going to be S for I hear that phrase, sapiosexual or something like that.
Yeah,
I could have guessed P for polyamorous. That's
yeah, but yeah, the whole. That group was trying to push really hard for it because a lot of letters. Because remember, it was just for a while. It was just the 4, and then Q got added on, and then IA got added on within the year or later, a year later, and then the plus got added because it was like, well, this is too much, too fast.
Oh yeah.
And that's when they were like, this is our chance to take an opportunity to do that.
Right. It's kind of like a Fish song on the album. It's a tight 4 minutes. You see it live, you're there for 25, 30 minutes. That's kind of what that became. It was a tight 4. Now it seems to be never ending.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing though. It's crazy because it's always funny because me, I kind of get in trouble sometimes for certain things about the whole community and stuff. But that's one of those things I know, but a lot of people that are really a part of the community don't know about that.
Well, and who or where is the council to allow a new letter to join the rank there? You know what I mean? When did Q become a part of that vernacular, and then consequently AI, and then you just throw a plus on the end, and it essentially includes everything else at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things I would like to know. If there was a council that makes all these changes, the flag changes and stuff, it blows my mind. The thing is, it's my favorite game is getting a lot of steam from a small majority of people because some games already updated their flag system, and you can put the rainbow flag, you can put the new modern rainbow flag, but some people are disgusted by the old one.
What's the difference between the old one and the new one?
I think it's black, brown.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, the black, brown, and then I think it goes through the Roy G. Biv.
Yeah.
Below that. Yeah.
Yeah, something. Yeah, but
it's basically a Crayola 8-pack at this point. That's the rainbow flag.
It is, isn't it? Holy, yeah. Ooh.
Wow. Well, I didn't. I thought we'd talk about maybe the Tempe Bridge burning or.
I knew that was coming. Yo, you're the one that sent me that message. You're like, Tempe Bridges. I think I was midstream or doing something, and I stopped. I'm like, what Tempe bridge are you talking about? There's like 3 of them.
Right.
And I didn't think it was the train one. I was thinking it was one of the concrete ones.
Sure.
And I was like, somebody their car caught on fire. And I'm like, and then it was a funny thing. Insert picture now because I is editor. Okay. I'm having so much fun. I guess I'm still warmed up from Twitch. Point is, there were 2 oil, because I'm a trainer, legit train nerd. OE scale model train nerd. Well, that's how much of a nerd I was.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Santa Fe diesel trains, all generations, are all my favorites. I don't even the ugly colored ones. Yes.
I'm learning a lot this episode. Anyway.
So point is, there was 2 oil. I forgot the proper names for them, but they're the oil tankers. 2 of them were right behind the fire.
Whoa.
So I guess they are designed for what they're for, because they didn't explode, they didn't do nothing. Right. But if they did, half of Tempe and a piece of Phoenix and Scottsdale would be on fire because of those things.
Right. Holy cow. I mean, I haven't seen that big a hot mess near Mill Avenue since, the last time I was on Mill Avenue. There's a lot of hot messes walking around down there.
But you know what's the sad thing? It's kind of sad to me because I was like, besides the other, the Crossroad Mill Bridge, that was one of the last havens of old Tempe.
Right.
And now it's going to be replaced with the new bridge because the train system still needs it. So it's going to be sad to not see just traditional scaffolding,
Yeah, that was the biggest bummer to me too, is kind of the historical element to it there, because that area in the last 10 years has completely transformed. And to see kind of the old wood and everything like that, there was a nice homage to the way that area used to be. But it's interesting too. You probably recall it was 10 years and 9 days to the date when the Tempe Dam burst. Remember when the bladders broke open and the lake drained out? 10 years and 9 days to the date. So I don't know, July 2030, Tempe, keep an eye on your natural resources over there. I don't know what's going on, but something's going to happen to that mill in 10 years to this month. So
yeah, it's sad if it does. But what's the funny thing about that whole, when the dam things broke, the rubber thingies, I remember everyone that owned a truck who wanted to drive their truck in that pile of mud. I was just like, really? Like, it's disgusting already. That's the last mud you need to be playing in.
Well, that's how you know that we here in Arizona are basically living in a very glorified Ford F-150 commercial every day. Because as soon as there's freshly exposed mud, we want to go play in it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing to me. Like, this is the fun thing about Phoenix is just like, it's weird. Like,
sure,
it's like, it's almost like an anime sometimes. Like, it sounds cheesy. So we just have quiet moments, and then boom, something happens, and then like the plot thickens, things get fixed, we go back, and then it's just a boring place again. And then boom, it happens again, and it's just like, it's a weird thing. It's like most cities, they're always dealing with chaos. It's like stuff happens, it goes back down, we're cool. Stuff happens, it's the same thing. Like, with this whole Corona thing, we had a bunch of things happen, especially with Tempe, and now we're getting a lot of out-of-staters who, quote unquote, hate this state and city moving here and go, I don't like it here, but the housing is cheap. It's like, that's not a good enough excuse to be moving here. Like, go somewhere else.
Well, if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, I think folks would find reasons to like living here beyond the heat, beyond the kind of southwest suburbia of the valley. Once folks settle in and look around, there's a lot to do. Not right now, unfortunately, but generally speaking.
Yeah.
That's another thing to talk about. Ducey had a press conference today, and let's go from talking about bridge fires to dumpster fires. But he had a press conference today, and we're talking about being on the other side of the peak here. We're talking about downward trend, hopefully at some point the theme of our podcast here might be obsolete, but That's what we thought in May as well.
Yeah.
So I guess you never know. But yeah, the numbers are, I guess, going down like Lindsay Lohan, desperate for another bump of crack. I don't know. I don't know. Lindsay Lohan, people still talk about it. She's actually doing great. I need another celebrity with a drug problem to make fun of.
You know what's the crazy thing? Technically, we haven't really been in a war, too. Like, we're not legitimately in war right now. Like, technically, America is technically not in a war, like a real
war.
Yeah. So I have this prediction. If we went to war because of India trying to fight China, all this stuff that's happening goes out the window so fast. The protesting, everything goes out. And it's going to be weird. This is my prediction. Don't have to agree with it. But everything that everyone worked on and complained about, they just forgot about it. And everyone's ecstatic that there's a war happening. And the reason I say this is I think Donald Trump only launched some rockets to somewhere, and everyone praised Trump for that week. They're like, oh, Trump is a president. And like, I'm talking about like hardcore, like left-wing, Democrats too, like even farther, were like, oh, our president is being a president. America's great. And it's like, so in the back of my head, I've had this prediction: if we go into war, not a world war, just even a basic like Iraq war type thing, all of this out the window. Like, and I'm not saying the COVID part, but
sure,
I had this weird prediction about this.
The cultural unrest goes out the window.
Yes.
That's an interesting theory. Part of the problem with that is the Middle East as an enemy is very like 2016. And right now, even 2014, right now, it's all about China. When you watch these campaign commercials, it's Biden and Mark Kelly in allegiance with China, in a very ambiguous way. Obviously in the context of China taking jobs and being the hub of production for the world. But it would seem, I don't know. It's an interesting theory, because I would think that would, from a layman's perspective, just be so out of left field that all of a sudden the Middle East is back in play. White screen.
There's
it's like I'm looking at my that's COVID numbers.
Yeah, see there's the important part. It's starting to go down.
Oh, okay. Yep.
In and out. Yeah, like it's true though. But I'm not expecting Iraq. I'm just saying, like, because there's a perhaps war because of India and China. It's like that's the target. Because I guess China and India have this border thing with, I forgot what, something. I don't know too much of it. I need to do more research. Been stayed away from a lot of that. But I remember the last time I looked into that. Yeah. So if that might be the story. And the crazy thing is, we don't start this one. We're just brought into it. If it happens.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, because we're more allies with India than China.
Right. I know that Trump very backhandedly, very subtly, subversively floated out there maybe delaying the election. Did you see that headline at all?
No, I've been so busy trying to, like, cause new job.
Yeah.
This Twitch, yeah, and other fun things I do. But I really, when I said I was done with the journalist stuff, I was like, I'm out for a while. I don't want to deal with the politics, because I did my part. And I posted the thing about a person like myself. I used myself as an example. It wasn't even a reporting thing, but it was that thing. I think you probably saw it, maybe you didn't. It was, if someone calls themselves mixed, or aka an American, and you pick a race, I go and I just said, you're racist, because it's like, why do you have to do that? Like, and sometimes some people don't do it as a joke. They just like, oh, you're Mexican then, like, you didn't hear the other two things I just said. It's like, and they go, no, you get called Mexican all the time. Like, this has happened to me. So It's one of those things where, like, it's like a weird thing, but yeah, like, I've been staying away from it. But it's one of the last things I stand for is I don't want war, but it's like a weird thing. Like if it happens, I'm gonna be like, I predicted it, but now we're in war again.
War.
Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, everyone will act fine if we have war. It's like, do you want war? It's like, no, I don't like war. I never liked war. And it's like, now you're like making me choose war, so things could be normal in this country.
So basically, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You think that you think that a wartime attitude will unite the country, despite the divisiveness that's coming from, changes in lifestyle with COVID and the cultural and racial unrest from this George Floyd inspired movement that's going on right now. You really think that a wartime energy is gonna, pardon the pun, but trump those two things happening in society right now and unite us in a way? I don't know. I as much as it's mired in the context of war, it's kind of optimistic, because if disease didn't do that, and if racial unrest didn't do that, I'm afraid to think of what something, not 9/11, but post 9/11, that vibe that swept the country for about 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't know what that energy feels like.
That's the thing though, like that's the reason I like stop at a certain point, because at a certain point, like, well, I don't technically, because I said technically India would be bringing us into war. So it's even a weirder element that none of us millennials and modern day children that are around want to know. It's like, okay, I know how the 9/11 thing works because we were there for that, but like this is like two countries got in a fight. Now we got dragged into it. Like that's the weird, scary part for me. Like that's why I don't want to. Like that's why I just stop at a certain point, because it's like I'm not trying to predict the whole thing. But the reason I say that is because it gives people what they really like to argue about. War is a big deal, and when war is happening and bad things are happening, people have more of an objective. I mean, because at this point, like, I mean, I feel bad for everyone that has died because of everything that's happened, because of all the protests and everything, and the things that made the protests happen and all these other stuff. But it's like we were in a point of the COVID whole thing, pandemic, in that position, because we had nothing better to do. Like it's a very cautious thing, but I'm going to say regardless, there was a guy who got chosen to defend something that's probably happened multiple times every year and shown up on the news and social media every year. And this time we were just locked in our houses with no choice. And this one was like, we're defending this person, and now we're defending this person, and we're defending this. And that's what happened, because we weren't in a situation where we were outside. Like I always think about this, like if we weren't in COVID and everything that's happened to George Floyd, would we be in the same predicament? Like,
I was thinking about this earlier today. It's funny you say that, because I kind of had a revelation today that in this post-civil rights digital era, so I'm thinking that this is not true for the civil rights movement of the 1960s. This exists now. What I'm about to say exists now, where we all have smartphones and social media. But true justice can only be spawned or born from boredom. I think that's what we're experiencing right now. And if I thought hard about it, I could probably find some other examples that predate George Floyd. But when there's a complacency or a helpless frustration that offers no immediate solution, when we as a culture or society are bored, that's when we start, latching on to things. That's where people would argue that cancel culture comes from. It comes from an element of boredom. In other words, the progressives won with Obama's victory, and they had 8 years of Democratic leadership. in the midst of his terms, this cancel culture rose because there wasn't a great enemy in Trump to fight. So you search for other antagonists because you're a warrior, you're a social justice warrior. And if there isn't, if your identity is mired in that and there is no war, you mean nothing. You have nothing. So
we're all trying to have meaning.
You don't have any meaning. That's what I was trying to say. Exactly. So a lot of the social justice that was coming from that movement of identifying bigotry and bullying online, and I'm not even saying that that was a valid movement. I'm just saying that it was one. That comes from the boredom of, in this example that I'm citing, victory. There was a surge of energy for hope and change. We achieved it. Obama was in office, and then when that campaign is won, where do all of those people go? Everybody at the rallies. I mean, think about Trump supporters. They come by the tens of thousands.
By the way, I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people that cheered for Obama, and then when he got on, I was out. Like, I am not even gonna pretend like, oh, it's like, no, because it's always funny because they're like, I was like, yeah, Obama was a good president, but he still did some things that a lot of the other presidents did, or some things worse. And I wasn't there to do my part, just the vote.
Sure.
Boom, I left, and I'm not saying everyone else did, but I was one of the ones who was, I'm out.
Well, and here's in a way, here's the real dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
Where do the grassroots leaders go when their cause is achieved? So if Biden defeats Trump, all of the liberals, Democrats, progressives that are rallying behind Biden, when he wins, what do you do now? Because you're certainly not working in the cabinet. There's certainly no role for you in any official capacity politically. You might be gathering the signatures and passing out the bumper stickers and doing all this stuff that feels real. But then when the election is over, where does that energy go? And we go through that cycle as a country every 4 years. So it's in the midst, it's between election years that crazy stuff like cancel culture, and I say crazy because it was different, bubbles to the surface. And, like I was starting to say with the Trump supporters coming by the tens of thousands to his rallies, you certainly haven't seen a lot of outspoken, crazy, I mean, we have, but not like, there hasn't been this weird Trump follower movement post his election. He's it. He's the mouthpiece. He's the head, heart, and body of it.
Yeah,
he does
crazy.
You know what I mean? He is the singular avatar for all of those folks. And those folks are not appearing anywhere en masse unless it's to reelect him, to support that build the wall and throw her in jail cause. All those people that chanted, lock her up, as soon as he was elected, they didn't go out the next day and continue chanting, lock her up, lock her up. The cause was mission accomplished. It's over. And whether or not Hillary Clinton really got locked up or the wall really got built, irrelevant to the fact that the mission was accomplished. They did not militantly take to the streets like we're seeing now and demand the wall and demand her imprisonment. So,
but you get my point though.
When saying that these causes that are mired in justice right now, because we're such a ADD kind of society, it comes out of boredom.
Yeah.
Not that what happened to George Floyd didn't demand something, some movement, some change, but the way it happened as it did and continues to in a lot of cities, Tempe this past weekend.
Yeah.
Will that be the effect of change that history will look back on and say, yeah, that was 1960s 2.0. I don't.
It's not even that. Like, just think about it, because you were in the 90s. I grew up in the 90s. So here's a fun one. In the 90s, there was war happening.
Sure.
And the 90s was a boring time. I know there's some cool things happening, but it was a boring time. It wasn't a boring time.
No.
But the point is, it was crazy.
You know what? Let me just say, it's funny you say that, because I think the double aughts, 2000 to 2009,
No, you're right. I'm so sorry. You're so right. No, I got okay.
Compared to the 90s?
Okay, so no, I got it wrong. Okay. So, but I can still use this as an example. The aughts was a boring time. Everyone dressed the same. Everyone did a lot of things the same. But the war, the Iraq war and the Iran war kept us glued to our TVs. And, we still created and everything, but it was one of those things where it was like, this is still valid. It progressed a lot of things. It helps me feel more comfortable. It's a reason for me to yell at my boss for dead naming me and misgendering me for months on end. Kind of know the reason why I have a new job.
Sure.
And, I'm not foreign. I don't, and I know in today's world I should be using that and, starting a protest or something, but I'm fine. I needed it. But the point is, yeah, like it's weird because when you think of the aughts was the time, even the 90s, there was those times where it was F the war, the president, I live my life, let's move on. It was a Democrat and a Republican thing. It was left, right, whatever. Now it's, we're so bored, we're stuck in our houses, we're trying to nitpick every little thing about our souls and who we are and have validness. Like, it's a crazy thing. And it's kind of crazy because so we got to start ending because we got guests coming. But thing is, it's like, it's always funny because I do make a lot of people mad. And you probably do the same thing too, where people go like, you make comic books, you do this, you do that. I'm putting subjects that affect both of us. And,
Sure.
We live our very simple lives, to us simple, and we love doing them. But people go like, you have meaning, you're somebody, and it's like, oh no, I just do it for the fun of it. But it just sucks because the rest of the world isn't like that. I think that's the reason we can have a podcast and I can throw this theory or conspiracy. Pick one. I don't care. Just pick one. But it's just one of those things where, like, you're still drawing, I'm still being creative in different ways and stuff. And, I'm not titling myself. People give me those titles and I'm fine with that. But there's some people that are really doing nothing and using their gender identity and everything about them to make themselves special. Everyone's special. We're not all the same. And when I say the cheapest way to make like your guesstimation you ever met your doppelganger is like you bumped into somebody and go, wow, that's how I kind of look like. But you don't know that person's personality. You don't know that person anything. Maybe once in a while you get to meet that person, talk to them, and you're like, oh, they're a different person. But
sure.
But we're all different. Even when you find someone that's identical to you, you're a different person from the other person. Regardless.
Oh, yeah.
We're all special. But besides that, because of all this stuff that's been happening, oh no, I talked about it on here. Like I had a real woman moment in my life. I went to Target to go buy something, and those petition guys were there. He goes, "Oh, yeah. I need you to do this and for the schools." And I'm like, and he shoved it to me. He's like, "Here." He's like, "Here you go, ma'am. Can you please sign this?" And I'm like, "What the?" And like he gave me the pen and everything, and I'm like, "Okay." And like I signed it, and then he like flipped the page. He goes, "Oh, this is the weed thing." And then he flipped it, and he was like, "Oh, this is for someone to get out of jail or something." I'm like, "What?" Like, one of my first women, like feeling like a real female moment. Not you're cute. Here, can you sign this petition? Oh, petitions.
Right. There's always the weed one. They always sneak the weed one in.
Oh yeah, the weed one. It was like schools, money going up, weed, and then someone getting out of the prison system because of something. Right. I was like, I don't even know who this person is.
And I'll tell you what, that is a perfect microcosm of why things move so slowly in Congress and in the House, because it's one big issue. He hooks you in with the education. Of course, everybody's pro-education, pro-giving them money. Oh, and we also want to let this guy out of prison. Wait a minute, what? We're going to tack that on? Well, I'm not voting for that then. And what you experienced with those 3 petitions is exactly how ballots are written, propositions are written in the House. What are we voting on again?
Besides that, with all this politics, it's time for comedy time. We need to stop.
Oh yeah,
I take the blame for this. I'm so sorry.
No, this was great. This was great. It's a good indication of what's going on under the obvious. You know what I mean? Everybody's talking about COVID. Everybody's talking about societal unrest, but it's educational for me to hear a little bit about trends in the trans community and to kind of really analyze where we're at right now in an election year. Those are going to be some hot hashtags on this episode. We're going to get a couple views.
By the way, I saw your icon because I gave you the link for our guest but I saw your avatar or profile pic. I went to McDonald's today, ate a Big Mac.
Oh, congratulations. Very nice.
How do they taste the same all the time? Last time I had a Big Mac was 2 years ago.
I don't know how they do it, but you know what? That's a topic for another time. I actually have a whole opinion about like local businesses, local coffee shops, and stuff like that. Let's save that for another episode because we can make that very local. But well, we've covered a lot of ground this episode. We have talked about the searing heat. We've talked about trends in trans culture. We've talked about whether or not war will unite us despite the division we've experienced in the last few months amongst disease and societal unrest. Covered a lot of ground. No guest necessary this episode. That's what I'm saying. I hope
you like my theory. I'm still standing by it, my war theory.
Absolutely. Considering we just talked about it mere seconds ago, it's very fresh on my mind. So, listen, everybody, I want to tease you that the next episode we will post is a very special one that we have alluded to over the last few weeks in the spirit of San Diego Comic-Con and how it should have taken place last weekend. We're going to record something here that I think is pretty special. So tune in to that on this channel in just a few days. But in the meantime, check us out online. Emily Estrell is on Instagram at Emily Estrell. What's your Twitch handle? How do they find you there?
Oh, at the Happy Dead Pixel. Thanks for that. Right over my head. Boom. Done. Check it out. Just click that little follow button. If a subscribe button happens, just click it and just pay the $4.99. Help out a person.
Yeah, what's $4.99? $4.99.
$4.99 a month.
That's like a frap and a
Damn
half.
It, the best in here. But by the way, watch us wear the same outfit for next episode.
You know what? I think the whole podcast subculture is so there's no bones about the podcast. There's no secrets about the podcast subculture. We just recorded a podcast in the middle of this podcast. That's what we're saying, folks. It's the magic of digital technology. We didn't have to press stop and record. It's great. But you can find me on Instagram at AmazingAZComics. I self-publish mini comics, poetry chapbooks, fanzines, etc. I try to make as many jokes about Golden Girls merchandise as I can, so check that out. And find us there and continue to come back here. We'd appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.